friends, welcome to Good Plans Homeschool. In today's video, I'm going to be reorganizing our homeschooling cabinet and baskets and general supply area. We just wrapped up 6 weeks of school, so we're now on a week-long break. And in that 6 weeks, we have made quite a mess of all of our homeschooling things. So I'm just going to take some time to reorganize and reset. I know we have some curriculum books that we're not using anymore, so I'm going to pull those aside so that I can get rid of them, and then I will make sure to print out anything that we're going to need in the coming weeks and just refamiliarize myself with where we are in the curriculum so that when we get started again next week, we are good to go. So come along with me. Okay, I have finally finished organizing all of our homeschool space, so I wanted to give just a little brief tour. I'll do a more in-depth tour in another video, but as you can see, we homeschool out of our kitchen. We don't have a designated homeschooling room right now. It might be something that we do in the future, but for now, this works really well for us. Side note, all the homeschooling stuff is clean and organized, but you know, obviously the dining table is not. So one thing at a time. Anyway, so we have just taken some cabinet space in our kitchen and converted that into sort of our homeschool cabinet. Up top are all of my teacher's manuals and curriculum books, and I just put them in order in which I use them by subject and by kiddo, so I could just grab the whole stack and I'm ready. And then books that I know that are going to be coming up soon, that they don't need to be accessible for every day necessarily, but I want to have them handy for when we do move into those levels. Just a general supply box for me. I am the note card queen. You can probably see all my note cards sticking up out of all the books. That's a major way that I keep organized, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And then I just have a binder that's got extra printables that I have made, our narration pages, summary sheets, things like that, and then whiteboards, and we use sheet protectors with white paper inside to use as whiteboards. It's really helpful for working out math problems or practicing spelling, things like that. Our countertop, I have kind of, you know, the catch-all basket of things that are going to be coming up. So we're going to be participating in a farm tour. So we just got all that stuff in the mail. So I put that there so I'll remember that it's coming up. And then any supplies we're going to be needing. We're going to be doing a science experiment that we needed balloons for. So I just have this out and ready so that it stays fresh in my mind. Then we use the pencil sharpener, stapler, and hole punch more than I ever thought we would. So they just live on our counter because I got tired of dragging them in and out all the time. So they just live there now. The lower part of the cabinet is more of supplies that need to be accessible for my kiddos to reach. So this is our big supply box. I just took out the divider and the mason jars and that they came in, and put them into this plastic storage tub. So this slides in and out really easy, and the boys can move it into the living room or up onto the table or wherever they need, and get the supplies that they need for whatever we're working on. And then we just have extra paper, computer paper, notebook paper, and then all of our math manipulatives. So these are all things that they can just grab and go quickly that they need, and they don't have to ask for me to help them reach it. And then I put the tall things up here so that they can't reach those things and make a mess of it. Over here is their supply baskets. So these are the things that I do expect them to grab if it's time for science. Everybody has a science notebook that they can grab and get ready. And then usually their laptops are in there as well. They've been using them today, so they're kind of scattered about, but that's where those typically land. And then our printer, my Bible, and my devotionals that I do every day. And then in our drawers, we keep computer chargers, headphones, the thing for their laptops, and then any specialty things for the printer, you know, different papers and things like that. Over here in our corner is our whiteboard. We use All About Reading and All About Spelling, so we use the letter tiles daily, and then I like just having that big whiteboard space to write things out. And then these are two of our pieces of our schedule, and I will spend some more time talking about these in greater detail in another video, but this is just kind of at a glance. Each kiddo can look and see, you know, what day it is and the things that they need to be doing. And this is our sort of yearly schedule. So I've highlighted the days that we anticipate to do school, and then they can see when their breaks are coming up, and we can make sure that we're staying on track. So that is our homeschool space. Got it all organized. So now let's move on to part 2. Okay, so now I'm sitting down to do the second piece of our organizational puzzle, which is to go through our plans and see if we are on target to meet our goals or if we need to make any adjustments. So I know this looks like a lot, so let me break it down a little bit. Over here on the left, I have the dates that we are intending to do school. So each week, and then each subject, Bible, history, science, all the way across the board, and what our plan was for that week. So now I'm really going to be looking at this last number here, and then after where we should be starting, so I can see where I need to make any adjustments. For example, we changed Bible curriculum, so I know that all of this is going to be changing. So I'll update that. And then history, I want to make sure that we are on chapter 18. Science, we should be wrapping up our review of inner planets. PE is another one I'm going to change. We tried to use the Les Mills Plus app to do some of the kids workouts, which I loved. The kids workouts are really fantastic. But because my kids are varying in age, we couldn't really find a workout that they all could do. It was either too babyish or too hard. So we're going to maybe try some different things there. And then art and music. We watched Fantasia up to the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So now we're going to do a deeper dive of Sorcerer's Apprentice. And then with art, I just use a free resource called Art Tango. So I just go on there and I find different projects that I think my kids will be interested in and that sort of have a variety. So there's really not any keeping track or keeping up there. We're just kind of exploring and having fun with that. Then each kiddo has their own column for their language arts and math. So here, this is, Royce's handwriting, writing lesson, and language lessons. So I'm going to check and see, did he get to page 95 in handwriting? Did we get through lesson 30 with writing and lesson 55 with language? And then Hayes, did we get to lesson 5 on spelling? Did we get to lesson 49 with language? With Nash, with All About Reading, did we get to lesson 50? And then the same with math. So I map this out for the whole year, basically looking at how many lessons are in each curriculum, how many days a week we do that subject to try to meet our goals by this mark here, which is when I want to be switching into the next grade level. Bible, there's not really a grade level. You can see with history and science here, we're actually going to be finishing those curriculums in early June. So I have a lot of wiggle room here in case we fall behind, or, you know, if we want to do some projects, I would like for them to be able to pick, you know, their favorite planet that we studied and do a more extensive project, or a favorite part of their history book that we did, give them an opportunity to kind of deeper dive on some things that were interesting to them. And then, so here, sorry, the dog is barking. Here, I can see that Royce is going to be done with handwriting, and so we're going to switch to typing. And then our writing lessons are going to take us right up to the end. But I can see here that we're going to finish the language lesson curriculum early. So if I need to spend some extra days doing writing so that we can finish on target, I have that wiggle room there. And then looking at math, we do kind of spill over into the, you know, quote unquote next year, but that is largely because we did a lot of switching math curriculums and levels. And so I'm not super worried about that at the moment. So now I'm just going to get all of our curriculum books out and check where my marks are and make sure that we are on target, or if there's any adjustments that we need to make. So that's that section right there. Okay, so I've just finished going through everything, and now I know where we are we on target or not? So I just wanted to go back through and review that so you could see kind of how I adjust and shift things. So I filled in our changes of what curriculum we're switching to for Bible, and history, we are on target to finish by the end of the year, but you can see that we were supposed to be starting chapter 19, but we actually are still working on chapter 16. Which I anticipated because we actually took 2 weeks off for our break this time. So I knew we would be at least 1 week behind. And then we had some, you know, colds and yucky days and not feeling good days as it is cold and flu season. So I knew we would be a little bit off target on there. Science, we're good. I realized that I had intended to go from Neptune into reviewing inner and outer planets, but we went ahead and moved on to the dwarf planets, so I just had to rearrange that a little bit, but we're still on target. PE, I still haven't decided what we're going to do there. I know there are a few places that offer some homeschool PE classes throughout the week, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to fit those in our schedule. So for now, we're just going to continue to try to be active and get out and make sure that we're moving our bodies without necessarily doing a specific PE or exercise program. I went ahead and mapped out all of our art and music for the next, all the way through May before we're going to take our next break. That was another change that I made, is usually we take a break about every 6 weeks, but since we took 2 weeks off, we're going to kind of go all the way through and not take a break in the middle of all this. So that will help us get caught up there. Royce was a little bit behind on handwriting and our writing lesson. We kind of struggled with one of the writing assignments, so it took us a little bit longer to complete that. And then, like I said, we took a little bit extra time off. So, but we're still on target there. Here we were still really well on target. One of our language lessons here was a copy work assignment that took a couple more days. So that's why we make the adjustments so that we know where to go. Nash is still on target for his reading, and we'll be starting spelling soon. Math was the one that I noticed I needed to make a big adjustment. So like I said in the last video, we did switch up curriculums. So we are playing a little bit of catch up. And I did not account for, if you're familiar with Saxon math, the investigations and the tests being a part of our schedule. So that, when I put all of those in, it was putting us like halfway into next year before we were finished with this level. And then also my second child was a little bit behind. We struggled with a couple of concepts that took us a little bit longer than we anticipated. And then my youngest, we really need to spend some more time reviewing some addition and subtraction facts. So if you'll notice here, I put behind, add Friday. So our normal school week is Monday through Thursday, and Friday is kind of our library day and off day. But I'm gonna go ahead and just add math on Fridays so that we can catch up. So once I added that Friday back in, We're still bleeding over a little bit into the next year, but not so bad. And then the other two will finish right on time. So here was my deadline. I can definitely see that we have used up a lot of our wiggle room in some of our subjects. So that just lets me know that I really need to think carefully about, if we're wanting to take some extra time off, if we can really make that sacrifice or not, to keep on track. So now that I've done that, I'm going to get everyone's papers and notebooks and the curriculum books prepped. So that's the next part. Okay, I am on the home stretch here. I have gone through and printed out everything that needs to go into our folders for the upcoming weeks. This is our music program that we're using right now. I really love them. They're called Maestro Classics, and you can download this little activity booklet and all the MP3s that go along with it. So we've done a couple of different ones, and there's so many different things to choose from, but it's a really great way to introduce classic music to your kiddos. So I will link that down in the description below. So they'll each get a booklet. It's got some different activities and just different ways to engage with the music, which is a lot of fun. Then for their history notebooks, I've got narration page that I needed to make copies of. So after every reading, we will do a picture and then just a short narration of what they learned about. So everyone will get one of those. Everyone gets a map for the map work activity, and everyone will get a coloring page for their history notebooks. So I'll get those put in there. The science has already been put in there from the last go around. And please excuse my really beat up, well loved on dining table. Now I wanted to go through and show you my note card system that I talked about earlier. This is a really simple, very non-fancy way that I keep track of things, but it's been the most effective of what I have tried. So I just use these note cards. One is my bookmark for where we are, but I can also leave myself notes so that I'm not scrambling trying to figure out what it is that we need to be doing. So for example, without this note card, I would just see a half-finished worksheet from 2 weeks ago and try to figure out, what it was we were trying to do. But we stopped because we need to go back and spend some time reviewing our math facts 1 through 10. As we got into these subtraction facts through 20, I realized that we were struggling a lot because these aren't quite as solid as they used to be. So we're going to take some time to do that for the first week or two that we get back to school, and then we'll get back to this lesson. I also use it for our history so that I can keep organized on kind of our general flow. So since we do Bible Study Fellowship on Wednesdays, it got a little bit cramped trying to do all of our other subjects as well. So we decided that Monday we would do sort of a double history day. So this is the new plan for how we're going to do 2 days worth of history in 1 day. So I made a little note that we need to spend 45 minutes so that my kids don't talk me out of it because history is not everybody's favorite at the moment. So a lot of times we try to get out of it early. So I know that we're going to read the part 1 that comes in the textbook. We'll do the review questions all together, and then they'll do their narration page like I showed you. Then in the same day, we'll read the second section, also do the review questions and our narration page. And then I have worked in some review days into our long-term schedule. So on those days, we'll go back and do projects on areas that we were interested in or watch videos, things like that. I do the same thing for our science curriculum. So here I just have, we take about 2 weeks per chapter in our science book. So week 1, we create the mini books and then just read and add facts to those. The second day, we're going to read and do an activity or an experiment. And then the second week, we're going to continue reading, and there's a coloring page and also a vocabulary and review page. So I made a note here because this particular chapter is a little extra long. So we're just going to kind of repeat that cycle until we get through the whole chapter. But then I can just open it up and I know, okay, we just started this chapter and it's Tuesday, so we're on day 1, or it's Thursday, so we're on day 2. That way at a glance, I know what we're doing. And here, this is another example of notes that I make to myself. So I put this bookmark in here the last session of school, and I just put brief review of additional sounds, then move on to lesson 47. We were kind of flying through a lot of the additional letter sounds. My son knew them and didn't need to spend an entire day on that lesson. So I know that we're just going to quickly do lesson 46, and then we'll move on to the next lesson after that. And that really has been such a time saver for me, so that I don't spend valuable lesson time trying to remember what we did last time, what we need to review if we're ready to move on. So that's just my little note card system, and I love it. It's not fancy, but it works. So now that we've got all of that, I'm gonna put it in their folders and we will be done. Okay, friends, we are all done. I've gotten everything organized, cleaned, set. I feel really confident as we move into the next few weeks of school that we're going to have everything we need to stay on track and meet our goals. Thank you so much for watching this video. If there's any additional content that you would like to see, please comment below. And if you liked what you saw and you want to see more,
please like and subscribe.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.